Good morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna. What an excellent morning it is. Great to be with you on this morning. Got a word for you on this morning, and it's all about deciding who gets what. Deciding who gets what. How do you decide who gets what? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. But before we get into that, we're in this whole week talking about getting out of the middle of things, getting out of being stuck, getting out of those kinds of things. And we just talked about three things so far already. I just want to do a real quick review, and then we're going to get right into this morning's manna. When both ways are right, where both ways are right. The takeaway was this: when both ways are right, choose what will build up the most and tear down the least. That's what we said on this past Wednesday. And now, Tuesday, we said this. We talked about how to make a good decision. How to make a good decision. Let me look at my notes here. And what do we say? Good decisions are godly decisions. Good decisions are godly decisions. And then on Monday, we started out and says how to make a tough decision. And we ended up saying, make a decision based on your future, not your fears. Let's jump into this morning. Deciding who gets what. Have you ever been in a situation in which you had to decide who gets what, who gets off, who has to work, who gets what, who gets these clothes as opposed to that clothes, how do you pay this bill as opposed to that bill? Just who gets what? It's the text, the talk, and the takeaway. The text is Joshua 13:1. Joshua has to make some decisions about who gets the land. And here we have in 13:1, it says, there remains land to be distributed. Joshua, look, we crossed the Jordan. We've been here a minute. You need to decide. 16, I'm going to share with you. 16, very quickly, that Joshua does in order to make a decision as to who gets what. First, evaluate. Evaluate. Joshua had to evaluate, get a clear picture of what was going on so that he could determine who gets what. Then the second thing is Joshua had to imitate. He had to imitate. What do I mean by that? He held up Caleb and said, look at Caleb. This is the guy you need to emulate. This is the guy, this is the example that you need to follow with respect to who gets what. The third thing is that he said, you got to communicate. Joshua pulled everybody together and says, this is what I'm going to do. The fourth thing is you have to exhort. Joshua said to them, now go get the land. Go get the land. You have to evaluate, imitate, communicate, exhort. And then the fifth thing you got to do is investigate. Joshua sent some folk out to check out exactly what needed to be done. When you have to make a decision as to who gets what, you got to exhort, you got to communicate, you got to imitate, you got to evaluate, you got to investigate, and then finally, you have to make a determination. You got to make a determination. Joshua said, look, when I look over the landscape in Joshua 13:1 and says, these remain, this land still needs to be distributed. What you going to do with it, Joshua? You have to do this. This is the takeaway for this. Decisions are life distribution system. When you make a decision, you are actually in the process of distribution of life, whatever the decision may be. So it may not be a situation in which you are trying to distribute this or that, but every time you make a decision, you are distributing bits and pieces of life. That's this morning's manna. I hope you get it. Share the manna. Don't keep it to yourself. And if it bless you, put something in the chat that will bless somebody else. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more morning manna. Bye now.